7:02 p.m. Freaking article. Cult of Dusty. Hey, good morning, everybody. Just waiting for some of you guys to file in here. I had to turn off notification. I'm on this one thing, and it started notifying me. Don't you hate that when you get a new app and you realize it's going to notify you all the time? A bunch of bullshit that you don't need notifications for. Yeah, so I was like, I'll turn that off right now so I don't keep starting. Because, I want to see if the notifications come up for the show. I'm kind of wondering. So let's see if anybody... Oh, Keith, surrounded by Keith is here. He's already here. Good. Dominic Leo is here. You're smoking papaya cake. I'm smoking wedding crasher. Only live on 2.4 channel. No notifications. No, I'm live on all my channels. What are you talking about? Where's my channel at? I forgot how to get to my channel. My channel. Nay is smarter than Hinkle, Dore, Zamorano, and Metzger combined. 3 watching. Better than 1 watching. We've already tripled the amount of people on the YouTube channel. Now, Jimmy Ochoa. Good morning. Hey, Jimmy. Jimmy, did you get a notification that I was live just now? Are you guys getting notifications that I'm live? That's great. I'm so glad. We got a lot to talk about, man. So, I watched a Jimmy Dore video this morning, and it was Steph, Jackson, Kurt, and Jimmy. And the other one I watched was the U.S. spy operation that manipulates social media revealed by Jimmy Dore. I saw that one too. And I don't think that's the same video. That's the one about, but that's the one where he makes the comment about ivermectin near the end of it. So he had said debunked, and all of a sudden he's removed the word debunked, but he says it in the video. It's like he doesn't understand the definition.
This is Webflow. Meet the design tool from the future. The most powerful visual code.
If Jimmy would just, when he's going to use a word like debunked, if he would just go look up what the word means, he'd realize he's using the wrong word. If he'd say refute, he'd be using the correct word. If he would use the word dispute, he would be using the correct word. Right? What the fuck? Where is my notifications? I don't know, Merc. I don't know, man. But, restream. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, maybe we'll just go with this.
But she's a journalist based in Washington, D.C., and a contributor to the Gray Zone. She's produced...
My bad. It wasn't Jackson Hinkle on this show. My bad. My apologies to Jackson Hinkle. Sorry. Now I see why you hate me so much. Okay. My bad. Jackson was not on this show. Kurt Metzger, I believe, was with this.
Several documentaries, including on-the-ground reports from the Korean Peninsula, Palestine.
I don't know why I haven't seen Jackson on in like a day or two. He was on like 2 days ago.
Venezuela and Honduras. Please welcome Anya Parampel. Hello. How are you?
Hey, Kurt.
Okay,
Hey,
it was
Jimmy.
Kurt and this
Good to
woman.
see you. Stephanie, say hello.
Hello, Anya.
Hey, Jackson Hinkle. Sorry, I mistook you for her, bro. I'm sorry, bro. I confused you with her. I'm sorry, bro. But hey, man, she's got guns too, bro. So you can see the similarity there.
Okay, Steph is also here.
I gotta say, if what I saw in LA was any indication, the special's gonna be great.
Oh, that's very sweet.
It's nice. Let me
Yes,
just interject
that-
right here. Someone was on Twitter this morning bashing Jimmy Dore's comedy stand-up routine, and it's nice. Before that was tweeted, she said, "I saw you and you were great." That's nice. And I believe that anybody that would say that you sucked, in your stand-up, whatever, I went and I saw you live and you sucked, blah, 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 just doesn't want to have a good time. Because I've watched his stand-ups. He's fucking great with the crowd. He reads the room, man, and he owns it. He holds everyone's attention. It's amazing. I've watched many of his uploads from live streams. And I'm sure he's had bad nights like everyone, but I bet you it wasn't even a bad night what that guy was commenting on. He's just being a douchebag. And someone was like, they commented back on the guy and they were like, dude, you're fucking jealous of Jimmy Dore. Shut the fuck up. I was like, I totally agree.
It was an indication.
He is pretty
Hey,
funny.
Anya, can you come a little
I thought
closer
you
to
did
the
a
camera?
different show every night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Look at you, girl.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
Stay close to the camera. You're
Yeah.
so smart. Thank you.
Okay, so you asked me if I was going to cover the, I can't even, what's the lady's name that did the testimony?
Cassidy Hutchinson.
Did he just cut her off for saying, I thought you did a different show every night? Did they just cut her off? Like, was that like a thing? That's kind of weird, wasn't it? Steph and Jimmy worked together to kind of cut her off. Can we go back to that?
If what I saw in LA was any indication, the special's gonna be great.
Oh, that's very sweet. Yes, that was an indication. It was an indication.
Hey, Anya, can you come a little
I thought
closer
you
to
did
the
a
camera?
different show every night.
He's working on a routine. It's okay. He's working on a routine. He's getting ready to do a special, man. He's honing it down. He's going out. He's going over the jokes. He's testing the audience. He's probably tweaking it. Dude, don't give away all of his fucking secrets, you dumb bitch. Shut the fuck up. Yeah, I'd be shutting her the fuck up right now, too. Now I get it. I totally see this. Oh my God. She just totally caught them off guard.
The indication, the special's gonna be great.
Oh, that's very sweet. Yes, that was an indication. It was an indication.
Hey, Anya, can you come a little
I thought
closer
you
to
did
the
a
camera?
different show every night.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Oh,
Look
yeah,
at you, girl.
yeah.
Okay,
Look
good.
at you,
Stay
girl.
close to the camera.
Yeah, get close to the
Yeah.
camera.
So
Yeah,
smart.
yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Okay,
so, yeah.
You asked me if I was going to cover the, I can't even, what's the lady's name?
Tell me you're going to switch gears without telling me you're going to switch gears.
That did the testimony?
Cassidy Hutchinson?
That's it.
That's
So
a good one.
you texted me today, so you're going to cover
I
this.
thought she was sainted now. We all
I went-
must know her name.
Oh,
I went to the comedy club in Burbank last night over at Flappers, and there were people talking about
Flappers,
this.
eh?
Like, hey, did you see that testimony from the thing? I'm like, no, I don't follow the January 6th. They're like, how could you not follow that? And I'm like, because it's all bullshit. And they're like, no, his own blah, blah, blah.
Because it's all bullshit. You don't follow it. So how can you have commentary and opinion on it, Jimmy? This is my problem with you, Jimmy. Is you're going to go right now, you're going to smear this woman, Cassidy Hutchinson. You're going to smear her for 33 minutes with these two people and your wife. The four of you are going to smear this woman, and you just said you're not watching the testimony. It's an abomination that you do these uploads, that you do them based on things that you refuse to watch and claim to be an expert on all of it. You know? And I don't understand why the other three don't call you out on your bullshit.
That he was choking his own driver. And so, all right, so I looked into this. So I went and I got a video
Yeah, I
of
know,
the
right,
woman's
Tommy?
testimony.
Cut.
And what's her name?
Cassidy.
Cassidy what?
Cassidy
Hutchinson.
Hutchinson. Cassidy Hutchinson.
Cassidy Hutchinson.
You
And
should
I
know
thought it was
that.
interesting. They had a commercial that ran in front of it. And of course, it just reminds you you're in America because everything is sponsored. right?
Works.
So
Live from Washington, D.C. It's a Capital 4, Monday, July 4th, 8/7 Central. Sponsored by the Boeing Company and American Airlines.
that's right. That's right. Sponsored by the good people at Boeing.
Boing.
I will say it's a mean fireworks show, though.
Yeah, I bet. I would.
Hey, happy 420.
Yes, I
didn't
would
realize
like to
no
go.
longer going
Where
to
else would
Canada's
the
Tears.
United States of America get the money for a fireworks show unless it was sponsored by the good people at Boeing?
Pfizer, I guess.
I'd probably get it from Pfizer.
Hey, that's the Ukraine money at work.
So so here we go. So let's watch this testimony. Liz Cheney is chairing this. She's fantastic. I think she should be president. And she's pro-torture, which is what it makes. You need to be. You got
Are
to
you
be
whispering it?
You got to be pro-torture if you're going to be president. So here's what she said happened. Right? Here's what she said happened. Here we go.
Here's the president's motorcade leaving the ellipse after his speech.
So
on
there's the
January
president.
6th.
He's leaving. Let's speed it up. Go ahead. Go faster. So there's the president. He's leaving. And now listen to the story Cassidy Hutchinson's going to tell about what happened.
When you returned to the White House in the motorcade after the president's speech, where did you go?
When I returned to the White House, I walked upstairs towards the Chief of Staff's office, and I noticed Mr. Ornato lingering outside of the office. Once we had made eye contact, he quickly waved me to go into his office, which was just across the hall from mine.
We watched this testimony. I just want to make a couple of things clear. Nick, I'm glad you're here, buddy. Been missing you in the shows. First of all, he's taking excerpts of her testimony. She testified for quite some time. I don't know if it was for more than an hour. I think it was. And that is something that Jimmy Dore and no one else on the show is taking into consideration. That she was there for a long period of time. You know, and maybe the fact that she was monotone or droning on or had a smile on her face or whatever was just the stress of having to do what she was doing. Was just the monotony of it, you know?
When I went in, he shut the door, and I noticed Bobby Engel, who is the head of...
When she said that, I thought we're in
Or
for
the
a Matt
stress
Lauer
of having
moment.
to do it.
Yeah, it's a Me Too moment.
Yeah, I was like, when he shut the door, I was like, oh no!
He had a button under his desk.
Mr. Trump's security detail, sitting in a chair, just looking somewhat discombobulated and a little lost. I looked at Tony, and he had said, "Did you effing hear what happened in the Beast?" I said, "No, Tony, I just got back."
Why
The Beast is the presidential limo, by the way.
Yeah. So she says, did you effing hear? Why did you have to put effing in? Like, who cares if he swore?
Yeah, no kidding.
Effing here.
Hello. She's giving testimony. And if the guy said, "Did you fucking hear what happened in the Beast?" She's fucking saying exactly what he said, Jimmy. This is straw man 101, guys. Okay? He's starting right from the beginning. He's going to straw man. This is not even a valid point that he just made. It's not even a valid point. And he's going to do this for 33 minutes, is not make any valid points and conclude that she's been debunked.
Did you
she does
effing
that a
hear what
lot.
happened in the Beast?
Now,
First of all-
he's also making fun of the way she spoke. Did you effing hear what happened in the Beast? Well, maybe the guy was like, "Hey man, did you fucking hear what happened in the Beast?" Maybe he was all fucking excited about it. And she's trying to portray the way he said it. Jimmy, let's keep going. I'll rip you apart, bro. Every fucking piece of straw you threw down. It's like you're getting paid to say certain things, Jimmy. Isn't that weird? It doesn't even make sense. What's your end game here, man? Why are you even doing it? Why smear her? Are you defending Donald Trump? Is that it? You got a thing for Donald Trump, bro. And I don't think you realize it. I think you got a man crush on him. And I don't think you realize it. I think you're kind of closeted Trump fucking supporter.
More testimony, by the way.
Very, very good way to put it. Here we go.
I went across the hall.
Yeah, she's very breathy with her speech, right? Okay, here we go.
Well, so is Steph Zamorano. You ever listen to your wife speak? She's got a very breathy way she speaks. Jimmy Dore, you ever listen to your wife? What the fuck does that even mean? Another piece of straw. Let's keep going. Dude, we're not going to have a straw man. We're going to have the goddamn Burning Man straw man when we're done with this. We're going to have a giant straw man.
What happened?
Tony proceeded to tell me that when the president got in the Beast, he was under the impression from Mr. Meadows that the off-the-record movement to the Capitol was still possible and likely to happen, but that Bobby had more information. So once the president had gotten into the vehicle with Bobby, he thought that they were going up to the Capitol, and when Bobby had relayed to him, "We're not, you don't have the assets to do it, it's not secure, we're going back to the West Wing," the president had very strong, a very angry response to that.
She starts smiling.
Right.
When she says that.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
Because, once again, because he's the president of the United States acting like a big fat baby, and she's remembering how shocking it was to her when she remembers what it was like hearing that our dear leader acts like a 2-year-old when nobody's around.
look at her
It's
face.
funny.
Why is she smiling
Look at
when
her
she?
face.
He had a
Is
very.
it the face of an honest person? Is she behaving like she's telling the truth?
No, she
Huh.
seems like an actress.
Really?
She seems like she's acting 100%.
No, that's an insult. You know,
Really? Because I would think that someone who's acting, I would think that, hey, D, what's up, brother? How's it going? Derek McDonald is D Dinners. What's up, buddy? I lost my thought there. I lost my thought. I'm so sorry. Oh, actress. Correct. Because she's an actress. Wouldn't she be more convincing, Jimmy? Your whole point has been she's so unconvincing. Well, you know, if she was a paid actress, wouldn't she be more convincing, and wouldn't she not be smiling and laughing about it? Wouldn't she be very serious and very professional and blah, 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 blah? It doesn't even make sense. Yet another piece of straw. We'll keep going.
watch some of those American crime story shows where they do the dramatic court scenes, the reenactments. Like those people do much better. The actors in those shows do much better.
Just wait, bro.
Here we go. She's got more to say.
I've watched this entire video. Okay, I've seen the whole thing. I'm going to watch it through with you guys now. I'm going to tell you. But I'm telling you, I commented on parts of it yesterday. But I don't think we went through and watched this actual video together.
What the president did, as she giggles, and she's looking down to the left, which some people say is a sign she's lying.
Tony described him as being irate. The president said something to the effect of, "I'm the effing president, take me up to the Capitol now." To which Bobby responded,
If she was lying at that point, Jimmy, why did 2 other Secret Service agents come out yesterday and say that they heard the exact same story?
"Sir, we have to go back to the West Wing." The president reached up towards the front of the vehicle to grab at the steering wheel. Mr. Engel grabbed his arm, said, "Sir, you need to take your hand off the steering wheel. We're going back to the West Wing. We're not going to the Capitol." Mr. Trump then used his free hand to lunge towards Bobby Engel. And when Mr. Renato had recounted this story to me, he had motioned towards his clavicles.
His clavicles?
It's clavicles.
And was Mr. Engel in the room
that a
as Mr.
euphemism?
Ornato told you this story?
He was.
Hey, why don't you get off my clavicle? This guy's been busting my clavicle
all day.
all goddamn day. Why don't you suck on some clavicle? I got something for you. How about some clavicle? I got something for you right there. What's that? My clavicle.
He motioned. He pressed a button and locked his dressing room door and motioned.
I just want to pause and say, yeah, Jimmy's fucking funny. So that douchebag on fucking Twitter that said Jimmy ain't funny, Jimmy's funny just when he's just riffing, dude. Unlike Lee Camp, who's not.
Clavicle.
Did Mr. Engel correct or disagree with any part of the story from Mr. Ornato?
Mr. Engel did not correct or disagree with
funny.
any part of the story.
It makes me laugh.
He
That's
did
why I
not.
watch
Did Mr.
him.
Engel or Mr. Ornato ever after that
And I do love
tell
him.
you that what
I love
Mr.
him.
Ornato had
And I hate
just
him.
said was untrue?
Neither Mr. Ornato nor Mr. Engel
No.
told me ever that it was untrue.
So they told her this. So by the way, this isn't her She's not giving you eyewitness testimony. She's telling you a story she heard from someone else.
Right.
And it's not accurate.
Whoa. Just because you're relaying something you heard from someone else doesn't mean it's not accurate, Jimmy. Now, that is a piece of straw. Another piece of straw goes down on the straw man argument. Bullshit. There's plenty of secondhand testimony that's accurate. Okay? Plenty. So, if you witness something, let's say I see a car accident, and then I go tell my sister, I'm like, I just saw this accident as a red Corvette hit a black truck, and everyone got killed. And then my sister goes to my brother-in-law and her husband and goes, yeah, my brother just saw an accident between a red Corvette and a black truck, and everybody was killed. Is that not accurate? It's secondhand testimony from my sister. She didn't witness it herself, and yet she said the exact same words that I said. She used the exact same words that I used. She even smiled the way I was smiling when I was all excited telling you about what happened in the Beast. Jimmy, straw, and none of it fits.
The standard for witness testimony. Oh, this is what my friend
told me.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Elon Musk allegations.
That's right. Same thing with Elon Musk. It was not the girl who was allegedly sexually harassed by him, but a friend of the woman who was sexually harassed by him. And that's not credible, nor is this. This is not credible. Why? Because she's not giving you eyewitness testimony. She's telling you a story someone else told her, and now, by the way, those people...
Dude, he's still going off on the same straw man point that makes no sense. I want you to realize that. And you would think that through the course of this, he would realize that he's not making any sense. Like, he'd figure it out and then he'd shut the fuck up.
That told her that story are disagreeing with her version of it.
This is called doubling down, everybody.
So here we go. Let's listen to more. You want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, are you telling me that nobody reached for the guy's clavicles?
No, nobody.
Are you sure?
Have you ever been in a trade where you press the sell button and the stock drops down, your order fills at the very...
PC positive.
Smoking some different kind of flour too. That's what we're gonna do. Smoking some flour. All right, I gotta close this door.
So that's it. So that was the end of it. So that's the end of the part I'm going to play right now. But so everybody's saying that. I go to the comedy club last night. People are beaming. Did you see that testimony? Did you see that? And this is what they're referring to. This is the bombshell. This is called hearsay, gossip. This is a bombshell is not gossip or hearsay.
Look, not everything she testified to is bombshell gossip. I'm sorry. Not everything she testified to was secondhand information. Was hearsay. Not everything. She gave a lot of firsthand testimony, and he doesn't want to discuss that. Straw man. Boom. Another piece of straw. So he's been arguing now for 9 minutes, and he hasn't really made a valid point yet.
Didn't we establish that that's as good as evidence now?
I guess that's as good.
A long time ago.
They're already making memes about it. Of course, he's got the Ukraine flag
tiny hands.
and they're making a meme about it that it never happened.
He's got little
Why
tiny
do I know
hands.
it never happened? Because they never asked the Secret Service their side of the story. The committee, the January 6th.
Okay. Did you hear the statement that Jimmy just made while he was showing? This is very, very important. This is another piece of straw. This is massive.
Establish that that's as good as evidence.
Look at the
now.
cartoon and listen to what Jimmy says.
A long time ago.
It shows
they're
him
already
lunging.
making memes about it. Of course, he's got the Ukraine flag colors, and they're making a meme about it that it never happened. Why do I know?
Jimmy just said it never happened. So, she literally said it happened, that she was told it happened. And he's saying, based on nothing, that it never happened. Now, you're going to listen to what he says proves that it never happened. Listen to this part.
Never happened because they never asked the Secret Service their side of the story. The committee, the January 6th committee, they asked her to tell a story she heard from a Secret Service person, but they never contacted the Secret Service person. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you.
No, I'll tell you why. Because they know that Secret Service agents that work for Donald Trump are compromised. So they don't even want to hear from them. They don't believe them. They don't trust them. They don't want their testimony. Right? That's why. So, just because you work for the Secret Service, that doesn't mean you're a fucking angel like they were trying to say in the chat yesterday. It doesn't mean you're special like you're superhuman. You're not. You're just as easily bought as anybody else. And if you drive Trump around for 4 years and you got to listen to him for 4 years, he might just get to you. He might buy you off. Who knows? But they're obviously not interested in what they had to say. That doesn't prove that what she said didn't happen, Jimmy. Another giant piece of straw here. That article right there, Secret Service, January 6th committee, didn't reach out before Hutchinson's explosive Trump testimony. Oh, well, that must mean that everything she says is a lie, Jimmy. Based on that?
Because it's a bullshit. What's that?
How is that a proper committee? You'd think if you collect testimony from someone that's secondhand, the proper next step would be to say, okay, now I'm going to interview that person.
Yes, and that's refuted by what I just said, and they don't trust those motherfuckers. They worked for Donald Trump for 4 years. They don't fucking trust him. Maybe they know what their reputations are. Who fucking knows? But she makes a good point. Yeah, you should go to the source. You should definitely go to the source. Subpoena them and fucking make them talk. Absolutely. Require them to speak.
Why would you want to interview the Secret Service, Anya, when you have a young lady who grabs her neck and blinks a lot? I mean, doesn't that say credibility?
So, more straw man. He says that those tells prove that she's lying. That's bullshit. More straw manning. Okay, let's keep going. She did have a point, though. I will give her that one fucking point that she made. They should get the testimony from the Secret Service agents, no matter what I say about how unreliable they are because they worked for Donald Trump for 4 years. They still should subpoena those motherfuckers. And they should subpoena Donald Trump. Get him on the record.
Cassidy Hutchinson. Also, Peter Alexander, by the way, he's the big shot White House reporter from NBC News. He tweeted out this. A source close to the Secret Service tells me both Bobby Engel, the lead agent, and the presidential limousine SUV driver are prepared to testify under oath that neither man was assaulted and that Mr. Trump never lunged for the steering wheel. And then underneath it says, so basically the January 6th committee has nothing on Trump. Yes. Yes. Well, even if they do,
Okay, let's go over this tweet that Jimmy Dore agrees with and takes as gospel. A source close to the Secret Service tells me. So now her secondhand information, no good. His secondhand information, gospel. Jimmy, your own argument refutes what this guy says because it's secondhand information and he's not even revealing the source. She did reveal the source and she claimed it under oath. Huh.
I believe all women, so I believe her.
It also says prepared to testify under oath that neither man was assaulted and that Mr. Trump never lunged for the steering wheel. Great. Let's listen to the testimony.
Right? Don't you believe her? By the way,
bring him.
Here it is.
I agree.
Secret Service agent reportedly willing to testify Trump did not lunge at him.
Great. Bring him.
So,
bring him. Let's hear it. Can't wait.
Senior Secret Service agents are reportedly prepared to testify that Donald Trump did not lunge.
Yeah. I'm prepared to tell you I have an 18-inch penis.
Or physically attack the chief of his security detail after his speech near the White House on January 6th.
I'm not going to tell you yet.
As a
I'm not going to say it
former
under oath,
said
but I'm prepared to tell you.
In sworn testimony on Tuesday. So, Hinkle told investigators that he and Trump discussed Trump's desire to go to the Capitol and took different views on the topic. Hinkle noted that they went back to the White House instead of heading to Capitol Hill. Boy, it's all in the framing, isn't it? Because the guy who actually was there says they discussed different views on the topic, and eventually
we did watch this together, didn't we? We did watch this together, didn't we? We watched this together, didn't we? Because I'm almost positive I remember saying. So they agreed. They were in agreement. She was in agreement with this statement right here. Yeah, there was a problem in the vehicle. Oh yeah, and then I said, but there just seems to be some dispute over the intensity of his reaction to not being able to go to the Capitol, right? She says he lunged for the thing. They said, well, there was discussion. She goes, yeah, there was discussion. There was a problem. He wanted to go. Yeah, we discussed it. Yeah, we did talk about this yesterday. So this, as Jimmy points to it, as if he says it proves her wrong, but it literally proves her right. Hinkle, right, the Secret Service agent, Hinkle, told investigators he and Trump discussed Trump's desire to go to the Capitol and took different views, meaning they disagreed on the topic. Oh, no. Yeah, where's the end of the goddamn quote? Hinkle noted that they went back to the White House instead of heading to Capitol Hill. That's a weird quote in a quote, isn't it? From Politico. There's no end quote there. I don't get it. It's almost like that statement has been fucking edited, guys. Why would Politico not put the end quote on? I almost want to go to Politico and see if that's been altered. I wish I had a producer right now, man. Oh my God, that's what you would be doing if you were my producer. You'd be going to Politico, you'd find this article, you'd Google those words right there, you'd find the article, and you would read and see if anything had been altered in that, and then you'd let me know. That'd be great. And I could keep doing my show and we could find out. It's just kind of weird. But anyway, what I am going to say is, whether that's been altered or not, it still definitely supports what she's saying, that she heard a story that there was a problem in the beast, there was a problem, the president wanted to go to the Capitol, and they did. And that sworn testimony, or this, what he told investigators, which, when you're talking to investigators, you're probably, bound to have to tell the truth. He said, yeah, there was a problem, and he wanted to go one way. We had different views on where Trump was going to go. He points to it though, like it's. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. You guys able to keep up with all that?
They landed on heading back to Capitol Hill. I mean, White House instead of Capitol Hill. That's a totally different story
no, it's
than
not.
that woman just told.
No, it's almost the exact identical story. There's only one difference, and that's Trump's intensity. That's the only difference, Jimmy. It's the exact same story. I challenge you.
That's a completely different story, isn't it? And that's the guy she claims told her the story.
Wow.
This guy says, don't be... So this guy's a law professor. He says, don't be distracted by claims of hearsay. That goes to whether evidence can be admitted in court, not in Congress. Yeah, we don't have any standards in Congress. The key... Listen to what he says next, though. The key is that Hutchinson testified under oath. If she was lying, she faces felony charges. The same can't be said for those trying to discredit her testimony. She was...
That's a really good tweet. I totally agree with that tweet. Don't be distracted by claims of hearsay. That's what Jimmy's been saying. Oh, it's hearsay. It's no good. This guy, Steve Vladek, he says, that goes to whether evidence can be admitted in court, not Congress. So whether or not it's hearsay, it doesn't matter. It's admissible. So, okay. You have no basis for calling it hearsay anymore, Jimmy. That's great. It takes the legs out from underneath that argument that you had, totally. So now he says the key is that Hutchinson testified under oath. If she was lying, she faces felony charges. The same can't be said for those trying to discredit her testimony. Yeah, like those Secret Service agents that are claiming that they would testify, they're not testifying, are they? Not yet. I haven't heard them yet. So this guy makes a really good point. He's just sticking to the facts. Let's hear what Jimmy has to say about this.
Because the guy said he frickin' didn't do that. And they're willing to testify. So
they're not going to have them testify.
But they're not. Yeah, they just won't have those guys testify. So they're not going to prosecute her, even though she's lying.
He called her a. He just said.
Isn't that wild?
Wow. He just called her a liar under oath. Jimmy Dore said she's lying, even though she's lying. Like he somehow has some evidence that proves that she's lying. Wow, Jimmy just showed his hand. Right there. He just showed his ass. And if you guys want to know, that's at 12:58. Let's go from 12:54. Here's 12:54.
Not going to prosecute her, even though she's lying.
12:54 to 12:58. That's fucking slanderous, bro. You know, if you weren't so hung up on fucking narrative all the time, you wouldn't have to worry about slander, bro. But you're so hung up on your fucking narrative. You don't even see your own goddamn truth anymore. It's sad.
Isn't that wild?
Who first of all tells somebody else's story the way she told that story, as if she was going step by step in an eyewitness account?
Yes.
Then I entered to the left. And he proceeded to tell me the story that he had heard. And what I had heard is
what?
I entered and I went to the left, and then he started to tell me a story.
Kurt, nice piece of straw. It doesn't even make sense. Who tells a story like that? She's relating what she heard. I don't understand what you're saying.
And then they go...
But on the other hand, it explains why she was so unconvincing.
Yes.
She was so flat, and it looked like she was trying to remember and she was laughing.
It looked like she was trying to remember. Wow, it's almost like you're taking the legs out from your own argument now. What was her name?
Yes.
Then I entered to the left. And he proceeded to tell me the story that he had heard. And what I had heard is...
I entered and I went to the left, and then he started to tell me a story.
And then they go...
But on the other hand, it explains why she was so unconvincing.
Yes.
She was so flat, and it looked like she was trying to remember and she was laughing. she was trying not to laugh at her own
memory, because she remembers how fucking shocking and funny it was that this was the president. It's borderline slanderous, isn't it? It's crazy. I don't understand Jimmy's. I don't understand. You know, the only thing that explains this is he's defending Donald Trump. He's trying to defend Donald Trump.
Performance. Because she wasn't telling a first-hand account. So that...
Dude, I hate Joe Biden just as much as Jimmy Dore does. Why is it so hard for him to see the exact same thing in Donald Trump? You know?
Inauthenticity was on full display just in her body language. But yeah, I mean, if I were a lawyer, I didn't go to law school, but I'm pretty sure that if I were building a case, I would never try to submit evidence based on secondhand testimony.
Yeah.
I think you're all ignoring the fact.
Submit evidence based for a lawyer. I didn't go to law school, but I'm pretty sure that if I were building a case, I would never try to submit evidence based on secondhand testimony.
Really? You would never, ever do that? Ever? Really? Do you know how many times secondhand testimony is used in cases that get proven all the time? All the time. It happens all the time. And then a jury listens and they have to take someone's word over someone else's. They're called he said, she said cases. They have friends come in. Well, he told me this. Well, she told me that. And the jurors have to listen. The judge has to listen. And these cases are based off of what other people say. They heard other people saying. You know, you ever heard of a domestic dispute? You know, you're in your apartment and you hear the husband beating the shit out of his wife next door. You call the police and say, yeah, I hear someone is beating up someone next door. That's secondhand testimony. I didn't hear from the victim. I heard it from someone else, a witness. Okay, well, what if I'm unable, what if I don't have a phone? And I go and I tell my fucking neighbor. And I'm like, dude, so-and-so's beating up so-and-so next door. And they get on their phone and they call the police and say, where did you hear this information? I heard it from the guy that lives next door to him. Oh, well, that's secondhand information. I would never base anything off of that. Not in a court, at least. Please.
Yeah.
I think you're all ignoring the fact that she did give specific details, like the clavicle.
She did say clavicle.
She said clavicle, and she said that Trump said effing.
Effing.
So,
We gotta check this Secret Service guy for 2 clavicles. That'll put him.
Steph Zamorano trying to throw down some straw that made no sense. Way to go, Steph. Way to pile on.
Tell us what the truth is. Did you see she didn't just say no? She goes, did he at this point disagree with the thing that the other man had said? And then she went, no, he did not disagree with the thing. Really? It's just no. You just go, no.
I like that he says, don't be distracted by the claims of hearsay. That's like say, don't be distracted by the fact that juicy gossip isn't actually evidence. Don't let that distract you. What are you, one of those nerds who nitpick science mistakes in Star Wars? Technically.
Once again, we're forgetting, Jimmy, it wasn't all hearsay, man. She gave firsthand testimony throughout that entire, throughout her entire, her testimony. It was firsthand, a lot of it. You know, why don't you cover some of that, Jimmy? Oh, that's right, you didn't watch any of it.
No sound in space. Shut up and enjoy the show. Aaron Mate caught this. He tweets out Peter Alexander saying that the Secret Service people are prepared to contradict that woman's testimony. And he says having Russiagate bombshell flashbacks again, because they said this was a bombshell.
Hey, Aaron, hey, Jimmy, don't be so quick to jump the gun until you see all the evidence, guys. You might be wrong on this one. She's given sworn testimony. You know, you keep forgetting that, both of you.
Oh, that woman's
she
testimony.
went under oath, man. She didn't have to say anything.
Go ahead.
It's very similar to how
she didn't have to put herself at risk.
We would wake up one morning and suddenly it would be like Colonel Vindman.
Yes.
And Ambassador Yanukovych, like all these people that nobody
ever
knew
heard
who
of.
they were.
Yeah.
No, but suddenly they were like, oh my goodness, these are the most important. It's very similar to that, where suddenly I I wasn't even
No,
paying
it's
attention
not.
to the news cycle. I
It's
just
not
was saying
similar to that at all.
Cassidy
More
Hutchinson,
straw.
Cassidy Hutchinson, and it was the same.
There's no comparison there, lady.
Yeah, Aaron, it was a
Anya,
flashback.
there's no
Yeah.
comparison.
Trauma.
Yeah, it's like Bombshell, and then you just look at it for 5 seconds and you see all the cracks in their story, and there's no evidence. And that's exactly what happened here. It's a big gushy, it's a big juicy story, and then as soon as you look at it, it falls apart. There's nothing to it, and there's no evidence. Aaron Maté, but what he connects to here. So
he's talking about one thing that she said. He's like, it's a big story. The one thing where he lunged at the wheel. A lot of shit that she said is a big story, you know. And you're clouding all of that with this one point that you disagree with. More straw.
This is debunking the Bombshell, and then here's Democracy Now! Repeating it.
Right. So it didn't debunk anything, Jimmy. This was 16 minutes in. Okay. This is Jimmy saying that the story, that her testimony has been debunked.
Bombshell, and then here's Democracy Now! Aaron Maté, but what he connects to here. So he shows this is debunking the Bombshell here. So he shows this is debunking the Bombshell, and then here's Democracy Now! Repeating it. This is debunking the Bombshell. This is debunking the this is debunking the this is debunking the bomb.
No, it's not debunking anything. A source close to the Secret Service tells me both Bobby, the lead agent, and the president limousine SUV driver are prepared to testify under oath that neither man was assaulted. Mr. Trump. Okay, that's what they're prepared to say. Let them say it. It hasn't debunked anything. And even when they say it, it still hasn't debunked anything that she said. Let's hear from the other 2 Secret Service officers that said they heard the same exact fucking story. Let's hear from them, Jimmy. You're not mentioning them, are you? Oh, you didn't know about them yet, did you? I wonder if you're going to mention them on today's show.
No.
You could do like a holiday special, a big 4th of July blow-up special, Jimmy, where you expose yourself and have a bunch of fireworks going off in the background while you expose yourself for all the straw you fucking threw down on this.
Democracy Now! Repeating it. So this is because Aaron used to work at Democracy Now!
Right. And Democracy Now!, who Jimmy Dore hates, they become a legitimate source for him now because they agree with something that he thinks.
Aaron, it's especially acute, the pain he feels when he sees Democracy Now! Being so shitty. And Amy Goodman in Democracy Now! Has been bent on misreporting foreign policy as hard as they possibly can, and stuff like this. So if it has anything to do with Trump, Democracy Now! Is going to on purpose mislead their own viewers. Which is what they did with Russiagate, which is what they did with Syria, and Amy Goodman and Democracy Now! Won't even have Aaron Maté on.
It's true.
That's how bad. So they got somehow compromised over at Democracy Now! And you decide which donor did it. But this is garbage again, and he's pointing it out. And tip of the hat to Aaron Maté.
For what?
Liz Cheney. The case for prosecuting Donald Trump just got much stronger.
It did. It did get
so
stronger.
She's already tweeting it out. There's already got.
She's campaigning for presidency.
And she's doing
That's
something.
all she's doing.
I'm almost positive we watched this together yesterday. Does anybody remember?
The case for prosecuting Donald Trump just got much stronger.
But this is better because it's got
new
the title.
testimony may have produced a smoking gun. May have. It may not.
You guys hear the ice cream
If
truck?
true, it will really
Let me know if
be
you hear the ice cream truck.
Big if true. Big if true.
Today I would like to show you 70 ingenious projects I built around my house that you can easily replicate in your own.
That's fun.
As we heard yesterday, White House counsel Pat Cipollone had significant concerns re Trump's January 6 activities. It's time for Mr. Cipollone to testify on the record. Any concerns he has about the institutional interests of his prior office are outweighed by the need for his testimony. Now, let me ask
but
you
who
this
cares?
on
You
this.
heard the ice cream
Is
truck?
she suggesting
Top of the
that
hour,
his
time to smoke.
lawyer testify against Trump? Is that what she's saying? White House counsel. So that would mean a guy
wonder if
who was
there's any
acting
deer
as
in
a
the
lawyer
yard.
for Trump. She wants him to come testify against his client. Is that what she's saying?
Yeah, which I don't think.
I don't think you can do that legally.
Nope, not over there.
Exactly. Well, apparently standards are different in Congress. I assume that in court you're actually not allowed to do that. But as they all said, don't be distracted by rational thoughts and questions about.
Why is she saying that to him? Because of this story that the what's her name? Chipperson. What's her name?
Chipperson. He says.
Yeah.
We watched this together. I remember watching this with you guys. Chipperson.
Is she relating that to this?
That's so funny that he said Chipperson.
Yeah, 2 last names. So why wouldn't they just get those guys in the story and not his lawyer? Like, or is this a separate thing they want the lawyer to talk about?
This is probably a separate thing they want the lawyer to talk about.
Oh, okay.
So Callie train wreck in my
I just
bowl.
thought that was outrageous that she wants his former lawyer. I thought it was crazy.
No law regarding cannabis.
And you
Cheers,
could
everybody.
hear in Liz Cheney's voice that, the timbre of her father advocating for torture. You can hear it.
So that's such a cringy
that's
thing.
What's
It's
so
true
funny
though. I
about
hate her.
this. It's going
I hate
full
Liz
circle.
Cheney.
When we are talking about
Cheers.
lying to Congress
Oh,
under
top of the hour.
oath,
Cheers.
or lying under oath before the United. I mean that was the way that the Bush administration sold us war in Iraq. You can imagine Colin Powell standing there with his weapons of mass destruction, claiming that this was definitive proof that we needed to go to war in Iraq. And now you have the spawn of that administration, Liz Cheney, carrying on this legacy of political theater, kind of just designed to, in this case, distract the public, but also behind it is, of course, it's exactly an extension of the Russiagate hearings, all designed to delegitimize Trump and cast him as some anomaly within the U.S. state. He's somehow very evil and opposed to our grand tradition of American exceptionalism.
The irony of Liz Cheney trying to get a former president thrown in jail who isn't her father is the irony is not lost on me.
That's
that
funny.
her father's a much bigger war criminal than Donald Trump.
Right. It's true.
And
Criminal period, yeah.
just criminal
true.
period.
Do you think that that this is all because Cheney had her grown so he could do
Had
a
her
get out
grown.
on her and put it, she will one day house his wicked spirit?
I'm not following what you're saying. What are you saying?
You didn't see Get Out where they transplant the brains? She's gonna just be the vessel for Cheney's brain to keep him alive.
Oh, okay. I did see that movie. Is that for Key and Peele guy?
Yeah, Key and Peele.
Yeah. So watch this. So now she tells this story. You ready for this story? Watch this. Oh wait, hang on. Why isn't it working? Oh wait. Oh, but I have one more story to tell. But before we get to that, there was also some controversy over in her testimony. She said that she had made a handwritten note. I didn't watch this, but this is what there was controversy about it because I was looking it up and I read this. It said the handwritten note that Cassidy Hutchinson testified was written by her was in fact written by Eric Hirschman on January 6th, said a spokesman for Hirschman. All sources with direct knowledge in law enforcement have and will confirm that it was written by Mr. Hirschman. So I guess she told some big story about how she had written some handwritten note.
And one person, a spokesperson for Hirschman, says all sources with direct knowledge and law enforcement have and will confirm that it was written. Yeah, except none of them have. That's just the testimony of one person, another piece of straw trying to claim that she's lying. She's the one saying it under oath. Oh, and who is the spokesperson for Hirschman? Are they speaking under oath? No, they're not.
That's not true either.
Did the note say try not to laugh?
I'm trying not to laugh at your weak argument, guys.
No, it said sit in your chair.
Yes.
She got her notes switched with Biden.
So
all hearsay, right? You're right. It's amazing. They sit here and they say, "Oh, hearsay. You can't use hearsay," and then that's all they're relying on here, right?
This is what their response is.
You're right.
While we understand that she and Mr. Hirschman may have this is, the committee's response.
I'm sorry, I don't have my chat.
While we understand that she and Mr. Hirschman may have differing recollections of who wrote the note. No, she's lying.
This is gaslighting. People can't have different recollections of something.
Mr. Hirschman may have differing.
Okay, well, while we understand that she and Mr. Hirschman may have differing recollections of who wrote the note, what's ultimately important is that both White House officials believe that the president should have immediately instructed his supporters to leave the Capitol building. Okay, that's both White House officials believe. Okay, that's weird.
Questions of who wrote the note. What's ultimate? No, she's lying.
This is gaslighting.
Wow. Wow. She's under oath, and this is an unnamed spokesperson. And he's calling her a liar again. Wow.
You can't have different recollections of something. You know, not everybody's perspective is real.
Yeah.
Obviously, somebody's lying.
She's telling her truth.
And it could be.
I wrote down that note.
It could
or
be
someone else
the
did.
dude who's a professional liar. He's a spokesperson for a politician. His job is to lie for that man. That's what they do. You know, she's not getting paid to lie. She's going under oath. This is fucking psychotic, man. Look at the smiles on their faces. The smugness.
I'm not sure. What?
Well, you remember it your way, and I'll remember it my way.
Yeah, let's just agree to disagree on who wrote it.
And one of us will
And
go
here's
under
one
oath
more.
and go
Here's
in
one
front
more
of
goofy
cameras
thing she
and
says,
for the
right?
entire world to hear, and the other one is a paid liar for somebody.
And went down to the
Yeah,
dining
that
room.
makes her a liar,
The door
Jimmy?
was propped open, and the valet was
A paid
inside the dining room,
spokesperson,
taking
Jimmy?
the tablecloth off of the dining room table.
Wow.
He motioned for me to come in, and then pointed towards the front of the room near the fireplace mantle and the TV, where I first noticed there was ketchup dripping down the wall.
Oh,
And there's a
okay.
shattered
Let's
porcelain
stop right
plate.
there. She noticed. This is called first-hand eyewitness testimony, Jimmy. I'm glad you're playing this because it refutes everything you said before about everything she said was secondhand. Well, now what do you got to say about this? This should be great.
On the floor.
Oh.
The valet had articulated that the president was extremely angry at the attorney general's AP interview.
Jack
and
Harrer, guys.
had thrown his lunch against the wall, which was causing them to have to clean up. So I grabbed a towel and started wiping it.
Causing them to have to clean up.
Did she just say that she grabbed a towel to help them clean up? Is that what she just said, but they cut her off? I couldn't hear because Steph started talking.
Clean up. So I grabbed a towel and started wiping it.
Causing them to have to.
She said, I grabbed a towel. She was literally right there helping to clean up after the fucking president of the United States after he threw a fucking tantrum. Let's hear what Jimmy has to say about this one.
Clean up.
Who talks like that?
Nobody talks like that. Nobody would tell a story.
Nobody talks like that? She's talking like that. That's how she talks. I don't understand what you mean nobody talks like that. It doesn't make any sense. More straw. Nobody talks like that. Listen to the way she's talking. Nobody even talks like that.
Something that happened to them.
What?
Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Who talks like that?
Now, this other girl, Anya, she jumps in not knowing where he's going with that, right? And because her job is to back up Jimmy. Oh, yeah, she doesn't. Nobody talks like that. Blah, blah, blah. And Jimmy's like, yeah, well, nobody talks like that. I meant blah, blah, blah.
He talks like that. Nobody would tell a story if that were something that happened to them.
What?
I mean,
is this Dante's Inferno? She's being given a tour of all the.
Now, clarify for us, Jimmy. Let's hear what Jimmy meant. Now that they've gone off the trail.
Then I was ushered into another room, and I saw.
Rein them in, Jimmy.
I saw his.
Rein them in, Jimmy. Rein them in.
And then I heard Donald Trump slam a door. He slammed the door.
I mean, on one hand, I could believe that people who
Happy 710, no law regarding cannabis, everybody. Cheers.
Weird, but no, really, that's just you don't talk like that. It's not the way you tell a story.
Well, I think just the way she talks is sus. I don't understand what her super low voice is for. I don't know why she has this kind of timbre.
She's had vocal fry.
She has, yes.
So all that time, Jimmy was just talking about her tone. And they went off on tangents that didn't make any sense. And they rambled, laying down pieces of straw that were very weak. And then Jimmy finally comes in, like a minute later, to finally rein them in and say, oh, I meant she's talking very low. Nobody talks like that. Oh, is that what you meant, Jimmy?
Vocal fry. You're right.
He was definitely coached because
there's no vocal fry, and now you guys are going to talk about Sex in the City for the next 5 minutes.
You said it's very ASMR.
Yes.
Where we're like she's trying to just instill confidence and comfort, but in a very forced way, like in an auto-tuned way. She can't be genuine. I mean, can you imagine if any of these stories were real and they'd happened to her, and you had the chance to sit down and tell the story?
The story of her walking into the fucking room where there was ketchup dripping out the wall, and she fucking grabbed a towel and helped clean up the mess. That wasn't her own recollection. Huh. More straw. Right? Like I said, Burning Man size straw man.
Like, wouldn't you be emotional and animated?
I don't think she ever doesn't talk like that personally.
But she's wearing
CNN.
But you notice how she's wearing white also, right? So that's conscious. That's a conscious thing. So she wants to, and so why would she do that?
Dress in virgin white and go and tell this.
Right? Because she's gonna come spray some false allegations and some.
Okay, so the fact that she wore white means that she's a liar. More straw from Jimmy, guys. She wore white. She must be a liar.
Bullshit. And they tell her wear white. It makes you look more believable.
Yeah, they told her wear white.
Okay.
Yep.
I've experienced that.
Day out. He said something to the effect of, he's really ticked off about this. I would stay clear of him right now. He's really, really ticked off about this right now.
Anya, I don't know who she is.
So
I think I've seen her once before, but I don't know where it was.
ketchup against the wall. That's the big thing. Ketchup. What's that?
She said it. She was like, there was ketchup on the wall.
Ketchup. I got to tell you, my buddy Nick Murphy, he wins the internet. He said Trump's presidency definitely had its heights and lows. Come on.
Uh-huh. Funny.
Yeah, and
come on.
Considering John Kerry, it's just funny because John Kerry, Obama's Secretary of State, is married, and he's
that's right.
Family, you know, it's all about the ketchup lobby.
How deep does this thing go?
I know.
So now I'll go back to the comedy club and we'll see what they're saying today. So what other piece of propaganda will the shit libs be excited about? That they were beaming. They were beaming. I've never seen them smile bigger. And they're like, did you see the thing? Did you see the testimony? Did you see the testimony? I'm like, no, I'm not following it. Oh, yeah, I got Trump.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. They're Republican talking points,
you always say
They're
that Trump
Donald
is a dictator,
Trump
and he tried to overthrow the government.
Donald Trump immediately
started
smearing this woman, you know?
He couldn't even get his own driver to do what he wanted.
And Jimmy
and you guys
Dore
are telling me to be afraid of this guy? He couldn't even tell his own driver to do what he wanted.
Kurt
and he was the
Metzger,
president
Steph
at the
Zamorano,
time.
the other woman, Anya.
So this again, this whole idea of this guy's a dictator. He's the worst thing ever, and they've got to convince you. This is all to convince you that Donald Trump is the worst guy ever, so he can't run again. Because they're afraid he's going to run again and beat Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton John Kerry or whatever piece of shit.
No. He is going to run again, and he's going to fucking win. So this whole thing has been a waste of your fucking time and your audience's time, Jimmy. He's running again, and he's going to fucking win. They've already polled it out. He's destroying Joe Biden in the fucking polls, and Joe Biden fucking deserves it. And I certainly hope Hillary Clinton runs again so Donald Trump can fucking railroad her too.
They put up against him.
Or Liz
That's how
Cheney.
bad I fucking hate
Maybe
them.
It'll either be Cheney,
You know, you
Clinton,
wanted my
or
support.
Cheney. It's hard to
You
know who's
wanted
gonna
my
win.
support. You fucking Democrats. You should have fucking supported Bernie Sanders. You lost me, and you lost a whole bunch of other people too. Fuck you.
We're the
And
pantsuit.
fuck Hillary Clinton, and fuck Joe Biden, and fuck your entire fucking Nancy Pelosi, Democrat fucking cunt motherfuckers. Fuck them all.
Relationship and be the top of the ticket.
I mean, that's how I feel about them. Quarter of the hour.
Definitely, it's a
Cannabis
going
isn't
to be a
tism for
question
all.
of the
Cheers.
establishment candidate, and what they're afraid of is that they're going to run against Trump again. And so, what's so crazy is that this whole distraction is taking place. It's interesting to analyze, and there are things to say about it if the media would cover it in a fair way. We just did it here. But beyond the distraction, all of this is happening at a time when NATO is convening in Madrid during the height of this insane proxy war in Ukraine, and it's facing a test of legitimacy while the U.S. sanctions that NATO has put in place in order to punish Russia and take this extreme maximum pressure position are backfiring on the U.S. public. I think most Americans yesterday were more concerned with gas prices and the price of their food than they were with the testimony of Cassidy Hutchinson.
Yes.
And
yes, that's true.
That's a direct result of the Biden administration's failure.
And my argument for this yesterday was, yes, it's all happening at once, and no, it's not planned out, and no, it's not a planned distraction, and you really should not be so quick to jump on these conspiracy theories. And Jimmy Dore, you've got a conspiracy theorist on your fucking show. Great. Congratulations. No surprises there whatsoever. I think I did a good takedown there. You know, you guys decide for yourselves. If you want to share this out on Twitter, you can share this video out to Jimmy Dore, you know, and let him know that I fucking destroyed his straw man argument. Point for point. I walked through the entire, there's 33 minutes. I went through 29 minutes. I don't know what else gets said in the next 4 minutes. If it's just promotion at the end or if they actually get into anything else for it, because there's 4 minutes left. What do you guys, you want to do the last 4 minutes? We already did 29 minutes. You want to see if we can get through the last 4 minutes just to give him the benefit of fairness? Because, you know, I think there's absolutely no room here for him to pull out and to redeem himself. You know, he has way more than quadrupled down on everything he said. He called her a liar straight out twice. He said she'd been debunked. He said it at least once. I think I heard him use the word debunked twice. He's just straight out fucking lying. You know? It's so weird to see this narrative being played. Why can't people just keep it straight, man? I wonder where Jackson Hinkle is on that. I bet she's going to agree point for point with every single thing that Jimmy Dore said, because he's a yes man for Jimmy, you know? I'd like to sit with Ron Placone and Graham Elwood and watch that. I'd like to sit and watch her entire testimony with them, and then I'd like to watch this with them and be like, so what's up, man? Yeah, we're not going to do that. Needs Americans United. They'll give us Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, Tulsi's horrible. All right, you guys didn't say anything. I'm going to go in. Let's go in a little bit more.
They would have to put up against Trump,
we'll
and they don't want to do that. At the same time,
let's see if there's anything.
This abortion ruling, the overturning of Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court last week.
420, guys.
Trump's base is counting that as a major win for him. They're so invigorated by this.
Too strong.
I mean, they've taken credit. Trump has taken credit for the fact that Roe v. Wade was overturned because he was able to put the judges that he wanted on the Supreme Court, unlike his predecessor, Barack Obama. And so Trump's base is not concerned with this testimony. They're like, wow, we just overturned Roe v. Wade. Meanwhile,
they're not paying attention to it at all. They're ignoring it. It's
go
hilarious.
up against
all right.
Trump.
No law regarding cannabis. Happy 420. Everybody cheers.
Crisis. Can't even get their situation straight in Europe, and so it was the perfect distraction. And I'm just interested to see how it all ends up playing out in November.
No, not since Michael Avenatti have I put more hope in a testimony than Mitch Cassidy in the road.
Oh, and the last thing
Michael
I'll
Avenatti.
say, I mentioned this over text earlier. I don't want to be that person, but just if we look at who Cassidy Hutchinson is, media reports all right now, Jezebel, go look it up. They're like, this 25-year-old woman is destroying Trump. I'm sorry, but when I don't know many people in the early 20s who are somehow, she was an aide to Mark Meadows, by the way, Trump.
It sounds like that headline bothered you. Why does that headline bother you? It's almost like you're a Trump supporter. You know, that headline should make you cheer. Whether you agree with it or not, I mean, whether you believe it or not, you should at least agree with the sentiment. You know, yeah, that'd be great if a 25 or 26-year-old woman took Donald Trump down. I would love that shit. It would be even better if she was a black LGBTQ woman. That would make it even better. You know? Everything that he stands, that's got some sort of a physical issue, you know? It's handicapped in one way or another. Yeah, absolutely. Can we say handicapped? I can't remember. We can't say that word, can we? That's not good, is it? I can't remember.
Chief of staff. That's how she was in the
Just
White
correct
House.
me in the chat.
Apparently, when
Sorry.
she got the job when she was like 20,
Temporary
23
insanity, I believe.
years old, and somehow now she's just
Mentally
come
challenged,
forward with
not
this narrative
physically
that
challenged. That's it, right? Physically
is
challenged.
keeping
My bad.
the January 6th
My bad.
hysteria.
I'm mentally
attacks on
challenged.
Trump alive.
They're physically challenged.
It all,
You know,
it's
a
very
physically
odd.
challenged
you don't think that
black,
it was,
or
you're
should I
saying
say,
you don't think
a
she
physically
sincerely
challenged
felt that
LGBTQ
America
woman
needed
of
to hear about
color,
this
should I
ketchup
say?
plate thing? Saying somebody probably ginned this up a little bit.
I don't know who did. I don't even think it's her. I think obviously she has coaches and people behind her.
She doesn't have the voice of anyone who's...
Bullshit. Obviously, she's got coaches behind her. Why would you say that? Obviously, she's got coaches behind her. Really? Does she? Huh.
Ever cared about a servant having to clean something up?
Yeah.
I'd like to interview her. I'd like to interview Cassidy Hutchinson and ask her, watch this with her, and be like, so, how were you trained for this? So why did you choose white to wear? You know? She might just be like, yeah, it's my favorite outfit. Next question.
Yeah, that's not, boy, it could, is the term non-plus? I don't think that's the
She'd
term.
just be like,
she
she'd
seems
just
like,
be like, do I not look good in white? Next question.
so over it. Like, she couldn't have a lower register in her voice. Nonchalant, that's it.
Oh yeah, that's so, yes, that's so the low register, so planned. And there was no vocal fry, I listened. But it was so low register that it must have been planned and coached, and that's not natural, and she's definitely an actress, and blobbity, 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 blah. Dude, they're just strawing you down. I'm glad we listened to the last 4 minutes, because they're trying to throw down as many little, it's like they can sense that it's ending right now, and they're trying to throw down all their little pieces of straw that they can.
When you look at her face, there's clearly something going on there because she's suppressing. She looks.
You know, when you look at her face, you clearly see there's something going on there. She's suppressing the truth with her face. You can totally see it. I'm an expert in facial suppression of truth, and I am a professional in all of this. I am Anya, and I understand that I used to work for the Mossad, and I was trained in knowing when someone is lying or when they're misrepresenting.
Constantly suppressing this laughter that she can't even take.
Like Jimmy was saying, oh, she's looking down and to the left. That anybody will tell you, that most experts will tell you means she's lying.
Take herself serious.
Yes.
And
She does not. I mean, just watch it again. I encourage people go, and she's just. It's like if you were telling a lie that all of your friends put.
Wasn't she just looking to?
to
That's
on
funny. She was just looking to the left.
With sodium pentothal.
She was just looking to the left when she said telling a lie.
Well, if she
Also, that's a pretty. I don't. It's a rough 25. I'll say that much.
I'm not saying that. I can't believe you said that. I think she looks fantastic.
And then the servant said, "Don't go in there. He's really mad."
She didn't talk like that at all. I hate vocal fry. I couldn't listen. I couldn't listen to that woman for an hour or more, which I did. If she had vocal fry, I couldn't have done it.
Them to clean up.
I can't handle it.
It was
So they're
causing
more straw,
them
Kurt.
to clean up.
More straw.
Wow. July 3rd.
Okay, that's it. We made it, man. We made it through the whole video. Surrounded by Keith says, I'm spot on. Surrounded by Keith, I'm sorry and sad that you were the only person that interacted with me during this entire takedown of Jimmy Dore. I mean, it was like the entire chat was silent except for you, bro. And I really appreciate that. You were into it, man. Thank you. Jeff, hi, Nay. I love how you can expose bullshit for what it is with phony people. Thank you, Jeff. Well, there's somebody else, Jeff. He said something too. Thank you, Jeff. You guys, feel free to jump in and join in the conversation, man. When I'm in here working, trying to put some good content out there for y'all. Hey, I just got here. That's cool, bro. Yeah, I just did an entire takedown of 4 people. Let's see how long her testimony was. Cassidy Hutchinson entire testimony. 2 hours, man. She testified for freaking 2 hours? Oh, Jesus Christ. 3 hours and 37 minutes, bro. I've got 3-hour testimony. Let me see if that video, it's the full live stream.
Quiet.
It's time for church.
Okay, so she doesn't start testifying until... Oh, here we go. 1 hour in. Okay, so she starts testifying at an hour, basically. So 1 hour in, and she goes... There's a recess right here. It looks like she went for an hour, for an entire hour. No, oh no, she comes back. Recess after an hour, and she's back. And now it's 2.5 hours. Wow. Whoa. Dude, are you fucking kidding me? She testified for... two fucking full hours of testimony.
To the handful of witnesses who have been outliers in our investigation, the small number who have defied us outright, those whose memories have failed them again and again on the most important details, and to those who fear Donald Trump
hour 30 minutes
and his enablers. Because of this courageous woman and others like her, your attempt to hide the truth from the American people will fail. And to that group of witnesses, if you've heard this testimony today and suddenly you remember things you couldn't previously recall, or there are some details you'd like to clarify, or you discovered some courage you had hidden away.
So let's say she testified over totally for way over an hour, an hour and a half.
With Jeff Sessions.
You know, why not listen to the entire freaking testimony?
Judiciary Committee.
Why not listen to everything that she says?
Conservative, but he worked with Sessions.
Who, of course, is someone who had to make some decisions about loyalty regarding President Trump himself and was really thrown under the bus, James, by the president ultimately. There's Cassidy Hutchinson. She is the star witness today in this 6th hearing.
She is a very pretty girl.
Public hearing by the January 6th
She is
Select Committee.
Very easy to look at.
Former aide to Mark Meadows. Let's go to the committee room now.
That's the first thing I'll say about her.
The Select Committee to investigate the January 6th attack.
You want me to speed this up?
The United States Capitol will be in order. Without objection, the chair is authorized to declare the committee in recess at any point. Pursuant to House Deposition Authority Regulation 10, the chair announces the committee's approval to release the deposition material presented during this hearing. Good afternoon. In our hearings over the previous weeks, the Select Committee has laid out the details of a multi-part pressure campaign driven by the former president aimed at overturning the results of the 2020 presidential election and blocking the transfer of power. We've shown that this effort was based on a lie that the election was stolen, tainted by widespread fraud, Donald Trump's big lie. In the weeks ahead, the committee will hold additional hearings about how Donald Trump summoned a mob of his supporters to Washington, spurred them to march on the Capitol, and failed to take meaningful action to quell the violence as it was unfolding on January 6th. However, in recent days, the Select Committee has obtained new information dealing with what was going on in the White House on January 6th and in the days prior. Specific detailed information about what the former president and his top aides were doing and saying in those critical hours. First-hand details of what transpired in the office of the White House Chief of Staff, just steps from the Oval Office as the threats of violence became clear, and indeed, violence ultimately descended on the Capitol in the attack on American democracy. It's important that the American people hear that information immediately. That's why, in consultation with the Vice Chair, I recalled the committee for today's hearing. As you've seen and heard in our earlier hearings, the Select Committee has developed a massive body of evidence thanks to the many hundreds of witnesses who have voluntarily provided information relevant to our investigation. It hasn't always been easy to get that information because the same people who drove the former president's pressure campaign to overturn the election are now trying to cover up the truth about January 6th. But thanks to the courage of certain individuals, the truth won't be buried. The American people won't be left in the dark. Our witness today, Ms. Cassidy Hutchinson, has embodied that courage. I won't get into a lot of detail about Ms. Hutchinson's testimony. I'll allow her words to speak for themselves, and I hope everyone at home will listen very closely. First, I recognize our distinguished Vice Chair, Ms. Cheney of Wyoming, for any opening statement she'd care to offer.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In our first 5 hearings, the committee has heard from a significant number of Republicans, including former Trump administration Justice Department officials, Trump campaign officials, several members of President Trump's White House staff, a prominent conservative judge, and several others. Today's witness, Ms. Cassidy Hutchinson, is another Republican and another former member of President Trump's White House staff. Certain of us in the House of Representatives recall that Ms. Hutchinson once worked for House Republican Whip Steve Scalise, but she is also a familiar face on Capitol Hill because she held a prominent role in the White House Legislative Affairs Office, and later was the principal aide to President Trump's Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows.
Wow. Okay. So let's just stop right there. She's credentialed. That wasn't her only job. And I thought that she did. I missed this part. I didn't know that she didn't just walk into this job as an aide. You know, she literally has done shit. And she's known for, you know, for what she's done. For the jobs that the positions that she's held. That's amazing. So there you go right there. I wouldn't mind hearing that again.
Justice Department officials, Trump campaign officials, several members of President Trump's White House staff, a prominent conservative judge, and several others. Today's witness, Ms. Cassidy Hutchinson, is another Republican and another former member of President Trump's White House staff. Certain of us in the House of Representatives recall that Ms. Hutchinson once worked for House Republican Whip Steve Scalise, but she is also a familiar face on Capitol Hill because she held
she worked for the Whip.
A prominent role in the White House Legislative Affairs Office, and later
she also worked in the White House Affairs Office. A prominent role. Huh.
Was the principal aide to President Trump's Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows.
And so she held 3 separate positions. Jimmy Dore never covered that, did he? Huh. She's amazing. So she's not just easy to look at. She's accomplished a lot.
Has spent considerable time up here on Capitol Hill representing the Trump administration, and we welcome her back. Up until now, our hearings have each been organized to address specific elements of President Trump's plan to overturn the 2020 election. Today, we are departing somewhat from that model because Ms. Hutchinson's testimony touches on several important and cross-cutting topics that are relevant to each of our future hearings. In her role, working for the White House Chief of Staff, Ms. Hutchinson handled a vast number of sensitive issues. She worked in the West Wing, several steps down the hall from the Oval Office. Ms. Hutchinson spoke daily with members of Congress, with high-ranking officials in the administration, with senior White House staff, including Mr. Meadows, with White House counsel lawyers, and with Mr. Tony Ornato, who served...
Yeah, seems bought. Yeah, seems like she's definitely the one that she's a paid actress. Yeah, totally. Holy
as
shit.
the White House Deputy Chief of Staff. She also worked on a daily basis with members of the Secret Service who were posted in the White House.
Dude!
In short, Ms. Hutchinson was...
You know, I think Jimmy Dore and Kurt, they need to just listen to this. They need to just listen to her background. She's credible AF.
Know a great deal about the happenings in the Trump White House.
Wow.
Ms. Hutchinson has already sat for 4 videotaped interviews with committee investigators,
Hey,
and we thank her
cheers.
very much for her cooperation.
No
and her
law
courage.
regarding
We
cannabis.
will cover certain, but
Bottom
not all
of the
relevant
hour.
topics within Ms. Hutchinson's knowledge today. Again, our future hearings will supply greater detail, putting the testimony today in a broader and more complete context. Today, you will hear Ms. Hutchinson relate certain first-hand observations of President Trump's conduct on January 6th. You will also hear new information regarding the actions and statements of Mr. Trump's senior advisors that day, including his Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, and his White House counsel. And we will begin to examine evidence bearing on what President Trump and members of the White House staff knew about the prospect for violence on January 6th, even before that violence began. To best communicate the information the committee has gathered, we will follow the practice of our recent hearings, playing videotape testimony from Ms. Hutchinson and others, and also posing questions to Ms. Hutchinson live. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Thank you very much. Our witness today is Ms. Cassidy Hutchinson, who served in the Trump administration in the White House Office of Legislative Affairs from 2019 to 2020, and as a special assistant to the President in the White House Chief of Staff's office from March 2020 through January 2021. I will now swear in our witness. The witness will please stand and raise her right hand. You swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God. Thank you. You may be seated.
She smiled when she said that. Did you notice that?
The record reflect the witness answered in the
She
affirmative.
smiles a lot.
I now recognize myself for questions.
I think it's a,
I'd like to
I
start with
think
a few questions about your back.
I think it's a nervous reaction. I think it's she's standing there and she thought to herself, fucking A, I can't believe I'm one of those people now that's having to stand here and fucking testify in a goddamn, you know, and she's got that little, do you see a little grin on her face?
These are some photographs we've obtained highlighting
She just
your
grins,
career.
man.
These show you with members of Congress, including Steve Scalise, as well as the White House with leader Kevin McCarthy and Jim Jordan. Others show you with the President and members of Congress aboard Air Force One. Before you worked in the White House, you worked on Capitol Hill for Representative Steve Scalise, the Republican whip, and Senator Ted Cruz. And then in 2019, you moved to the White House and served there until the end of the Trump administration in 2020.
God.
When you
Why did you
started
work
at the White
for
House,
straight
you served in the
scumbags,
Office of
honey?
Legislative Affairs. We
Why
understand
are
that
you a
were initially hired as
Republican?
a staff assistant,
What is
but were soon
wrong
promoted
with
to a position
you?
of greater responsibility. Can you explain your role for the committee?
When I moved over to the White House Chief of Staff's office with Mr. Meadows when he became the 4th Chief of Staff, it's difficult to describe a typical day. I was a special assistant to the President and an advisor to the Chief of Staff. The days depended on what the President was doing that day, and that's kind of how my portfolio was reflected. I had a lot of outreach with members of Congress, senior cabinet officials. I would work on policy issues with relevant internal components and members on the Hill, as well as security protocol at the White House complex for Mr. Meadows and the President.
And then you received another promotion in March 2020. At that time, you became the principal aide to the new White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows. Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
What did a typical day look like for you in your work with Mr. Meadows?
It varied with what was going on. We spent a lot of time on the Hill. I spent time on the Hill independently too, as I was his liaison for Capitol Hill. We did a lot of presidential travel engagements, but mostly I was there to serve what the Chief of Staff needed, and a lot of times what the Chief of Staff needed was a reflection of what the President's schedule was detailed to do that day.
So is it fair to say that you spoke regularly in your position, both with members of Congress and with senior members of the Trump administration?
That's correct. That's a fair assessment, sir.
And would you say that in your work with Mr. Meadows, you were typically in contact with him and others in the White House throughout the day?
That's correct, sir. Mr. Meadows and I were in contact almost pretty much throughout every day, consistently.
Although so much of great importance happens in the West Wing of the White House, it's quite a small building. Above me on the screen, you can see a map of the first floor of the West Wing of the White House. On the right, you can see the President's Oval Office. On the left, the Chief of Staff's office suite. Within the Chief of Staff's office suite is the heart of the West Wing, was your desk, which was between the Vice President's office, Ms. Kirshner's office, and the Oval Office. Ms. Hutchinson, is this an accurate depiction of where you were located?
It's accurate. It's a lot smaller than it looks.
Absolutely.
That's what they said in the movie, Don't Look Up.
A short distance.
Isn't that funny? They said in Don't Look Up, she's like, is that the Oval Office? And he's like, yeah, it looks a lot bigger in the pictures. Isn't that hilarious, dude? They said the exact same thing, man. So not only is that funny and cute, but at the same time, dude, she was right up in there. She was in the Oval Office. I mean, she was in the fucking White House, bro, all the time. She was right there. You know, she witnessed a lot of shit, bro.
Office and the President's Oval Office. And it only takes 5 to 10 seconds or so to walk down the hall from your office to the Oval Office. Is that right?
But she's lying, right?
Pursuant to the Section 5C8 of House
But
Resolution
she's lying
503,
surrounded by keep,
the chair
right?
recognizes the young woman from Wyoming, Ms. Cheney, for questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
What a credible
Mr. Chairman,
witness
we
she is
begin
turning
today
out
with
to
an
be.
exchange that
The
first
more I
provided Ms.
learn
Hutchinson a
about
tangible
her,
sense of the ongoing
the more
planning
I'm
for the
going to
events of January
defend
6th.
her, you know?
On January 2nd, 4 days before the attack on our Capitol, President Trump's lead lawyer, Mr. Giuliani, was meeting with White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows and others. Ms. Hutchinson, do you remember Mr. Giuliani meeting with Mr. Meadows on January 2nd, 2021?
I do. He met with Mr. Meadows in the evening of January 2nd, 2021.
And we understand that you walked Mr. Giuliani out of the White House that night, and he talked to you about January 6th. What do you remember him saying?
As Mr. Giuliani and I were walking to his vehicles that evening, he looked at me and said something to the effect of, Cass, are you excited for the 6th? It's going to be a great day. I remember looking at him saying, Rudy, could you explain what's happening on the 6th? He had responded something to the effect of,
dude, this is right when I started watching the testimony because I didn't know who she got in the car with or who she was talking to at first. This is right. Yo, Steve-O, whether you're quitting it or not, can we call it cannabis instead of the word weed? Steve-O, on my live stream. We don't call it weed because weed means useless. And I'm using it right now, so it's got a use for me at least. I'm sorry that you have to quit using cannabis. But, yeah, weed does mean useless plant, so let's not call it that. Thanks, bro. So this is right when I started watching the testimony live. And I remember right from this point, man.
The Capitol. It's going to be great. The president's going to be there. He's going to look powerful. He's going to be with the members. He's going to be with the senators. Talk to the chief about it. Talk to the chief about it. He knows about it.
And did you go back then up to the West Wing and tell Mr. Meadows about your conversation with Mr. Giuliani?
I did. After Mr. Giuliani had left the campus that evening, I went back up to our office, and I found Mr. Meadows in his office on the couch. He was scrolling through his phone. I remember leaning against the doorway and saying, I had an interesting conversation with Rudy, Mark. Sounds like we're going to go to the Capitol. He didn't look up from his phone and said something to the effect of, there's a lot going on, Cass, but I don't know. Things might get real, real bad on January 6th.
Ms. Hutchinson, Mr. Meadows is engaged in litigation with the committee to try to avoid testifying here. What was your reaction when he said to you things might get real, real bad?
In the days before January 2nd, I was apprehensive about the 6th. I had heard general plans for a rally. I had heard tentative movements to potentially go to the Capitol. But when hearing Rudy's take on January 6th and then Mark's response, that evening was the first moment that I remember feeling scared and nervous for what could happen on January 6th. and I had a deeper concern for what was happening with the planning aspects of it.
Thank you, Ms. Hutchinson. Today, we're going to be focusing primarily on the events of January 5th and 6th.
And if there's
at the White
one
House.
thing I do remember
but
is
to begin and
this
to
was
frame the
so
discussion, I
slow.
want to
She
talk about a
talks
conversation
very
that you had
slow,
with Mr. John Ratcliffe,
very
the Director of
deliberately.
National Intelligence. And you had
This
this
is
conversation
almost
in
like
December of
normal
2020.
speed for me, right?
Mr. Ratcliffe
Didn't it
was
almost
nominated
sound
by
normal?
President Trump to oversee U.S. intelligence. our U.S.
Remember
intelligence
whenever
community,
you're listening to this
and before his
testimony
appointment, Mr.
and
Ratcliffe
sped
was a
up,
Republican member of
remember
Congress.
that you're listening
As
to
you
it
will see
sped
on this
up.
clip, Director
It's
Ratcliffe's
different
comments in
when it's
December of
slower.
2020 were prescient.
My understanding was Director Ratcliffe didn't want much to do with the post-election period. Director Ratcliffe felt that it wasn't something that the White House should be pursuing. It felt it was dangerous for the president's legacy. He had expressed to me that he was concerned that it could spiral out of control and potentially be dangerous, either for our democracy or the way that things were going for the six.
When you say it wasn't something the White House should be pursuing, what's the it?
Trying to fight the results of the election, finding missing ballots, pressuring, filing lawsuits in certain states where there didn't seem to be significant evidence,
Pressuring.
and reaching out to state legislatures about. So pretty much the way that the White House is handling the post-election period, he felt that there could be dangerous repercussions in terms of precedent set for elections, for our democracy, for the six. He was hoping that we would concede.
So, Ms. Hutchinson, now we're going to turn to certain information that was available before January 4th and what the Trump administration and the president knew about the potential for violence before January 6th. On the screen, you will see an email received by Acting Deputy Attorney General Donahue on January 4th from the National Security Division of the Department of Justice. Mr. Donahue testified in our hearings last week. The email identifies apparent planning by those coming to Washington on January 6th to, quote, occupy federal buildings and discussions of, quote, invading the Capitol building. Here's what Mr. Donahue said to us.
And we knew that if you have tens of thousands of very upset people showing up in Washington, D.C., that there was potential for violence.
U.S. Secret Service was looking at similar information and watching the planned demonstrations. In fact, their intelligence division sent several emails to White House personnel, like Deputy Chief of Staff Tony Ornato and the head of the President's Protective Detail, Robert Hinkle, including certain materials listing events like those on the screen. The White House continued to receive updates about planned demonstrations, including information regarding the Proud Boys organizing and planning to attend events on January 6th. Although Ms. Hutchinson has no detailed knowledge of any planning involving the Proud Boys for January 6th, she did note this.
I recall hearing the word Oath Keeper and hearing the word Proud Boys closer to the planning of the January 6th rally when Mr. Giuliani would be around.
On January 3rd, the Capitol Police issued a special event assessment. In that document, the Capitol Police noted that the Proud Boys and other groups planned to be in Washington, D.C. on January 6th and indicated that, quote, unlike previous post-election protests, the targets of the pro-Trump supporters are not necessarily the counter-protesters as they were previously, but rather Congress itself is the target on the 6th. Of course, we all know now that the Proud Boys showed up on January 6th, marched from the Washington Monument to the Capitol that day, and led the riotous mob to invade and occupy our Capitol. Ms. Hutchinson, I want to play you a clip of one of our meetings when you described a call on January 4th that you received from National Security Advisor Robert O'Brien on the same topic, potential violence on January 6th.
I received a call from Robert O'Brien, the National Security Advisor. He had asked if he could speak with Mr. Meadows about potential words of violence that he was hearing that were potentially going to happen on the Hill on January 6th. I had asked if he had connected with Tony Ornato because Tony Ornato had a conversation with Mark about that topic. Robert had said, I'll talk to Tony, and then I don't know if Robert ever connected with Mark about the issue.
Ms. Hutchinson, can you describe for us Mr. Ornato's responsibilities as Deputy Chief of Staff?
The Deputy Chief of Staff position at the White House for operations is arguably one of the most important positions that somebody can hold. They're in charge of all security protocol for the campus and all presidential protectees, primarily the president and the first family, but anything that requires security for any individual that has presidential protection, so the Chief of Staff or the National Security Advisor, as well as the Vice President's team too. Tony would oversee all of that, and he was the conduit for security protocol between White House staff and the United States Secret Service.
Thank you. And you also described a brief meeting between Mr. Ornato and Mr. Meadows on the potential for violence. The meeting was on January 4th. They were talking about the potential for violence on January 6th. Let's listen to a clip of that testimony.
Remember Mr. Ornato had talked to him about intelligence reports. I remember Mr. Ornato coming in and saying that we had intel reports saying that there could potentially be violence on the 6th.
You also told us about reports of violence and weapons that the Secret Service were receiving on the night of January 5th and throughout the day on January 6th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
There are reports that police in Washington, D.C. had arrested several people with firearms or ammunition following a separate pro-Trump rally in Freedom Plaza on the evening of January 5th. Are those some of the reports that you recall hearing about?
They are.
Of course, the world now knows that the people who attacked the Capitol on January 6th had many different types of weapons. When a president speaks, the Secret Service typically requires those attending to pass through metal detectors, known as magnetometers, or mags for short. The Select Committee has learned that people who willingly entered the enclosed area for President Trump's speech were screened so they could attend the rally at the Ellipse. They had weapons and other items that were confiscated: pepper spray, knives, brass knuckles, tasers, body armor, gas masks, batons, blunt weapons. And those were just from the people who chose to go through the security for the president's event on the Ellipse, not the several thousand members of the crowd who refused to go through the mags and watched from the lawn near the Washington Monument.
This is important.
The Select Committee has learned about reports from outside the magnetometers and has obtained police radio transmissions identifying individuals with firearms, including AR-15s, near the Ellipse on the morning of January 6th. Let's listen.
There's an individual in a tree, maybe a white male, about 6 feet tall, thin-built, brown cowboy boots. He's got blue jeans and a blue jean jacket, and underneath the blue jean jacket, the complainant's both saw stocked with AR-15. He's going to be with a group of individuals, about five to eight other individuals. Two of the individuals in that group at the base of the tree, near the porta potties, were wearing green fatigues, green olive dress style fatigues, about 5'8", 5'9", skinny white males, brown cowboy boots. They had Glock-style pistols in their waistband.
8736 with the message that subject, weapon on his right hip. All that he's in the tree.
Motor 1, make sure BPD knows they have an elevated threat in the tree south side of Constitution Avenue. Look for the Don't Tread on Me flag, American flag face mask, cowboy boots, weapon on the right side hip.
Okay, 3 men walking down the street in fatigue was carrying AR-15. Copy at 14th and Independence.
AR-15s at 14th and Independence. As you saw in those emails, the first report that we showed, we now know was sent in the 8 o'clock hour on January 6th. This talked about people in the crowd wearing ballistic helmets and body armor, carrying radio equipment and military-grade backpacks. The second report we showed you on the screen was sent by the Secret Service in the 11 a.m. hour, and it addressed reports of a man with a rifle near the Ellipse. Ms. Hutchinson, in prior testimony, you described for us a meeting in the White House around 10 a.m. in the morning of January 6th, involving Chief of Staff Meadows and Tony Ornato. Were you in that meeting?
I was.
Let's listen to your testimony about that meeting, and then we'll have some questions.
I think the last time we talked, you mentioned that some of the weapons that people had at the rally included flagpoles, oversized sticks or flagpoles, bear spray. Is there anything else that you recall hearing about the people who gathered in the had?
I recall Tony and I having a conversation with Mark probably around 10 a.m., 10:15 a.m., where I remember Tony mentioning knives, guns in the form of pistols and rifles, bear spray, body armor, spears, and flagpoles. Spears were one item, flagpoles were one item, and then Tony had relayed to me something to the effect of, and these I think people are fastening spears onto the ends of flagpoles.
Ms. Hutchinson, here's a clip of your testimony regarding Mr. Meadows' response to learning that the rally attendees were armed that day. What was Mark's reaction, Mr. Meadows' reaction to this list of weapons that people had in the crowd?
When Tony and I went in to talk to Mark that morning, Mark was sitting on his couch on his phone, which was something typical. And I remember Tony just got right into it. I was like, sorry, so I'm going to let you know, and informed him, like, this is how many people we have outside the mags right now. These are the weapons that we're known to have. It's possible he listed more weapons out there. I just don't recall. And gave him a brief but inconcise explanation, but also fairly thorough. And I remember distinctly Mark not looking up for his phone. And I remember Tony finishing his explanation and it taking a few seconds for Mark to say something, because I almost said, Mark, did you hear him? And then Mark chimed in and was like, all right, anything else? Still looking down at his phone. And Tony looked at me and I looked at Tony and Tony said, no, sir, do you have any questions? It's like, what are you hearing? And I looked at Tony and I was like, sir, I just told you about what was happening down at the rallies. And he was like, yeah, I know. And then he looked up and said, have you talked to the president? And Tony said, yes, sir, he's aware too. He's like, all right, good.
He asked Tony if Tony had informed the president.
Yes.
And Tony said, yes, he had. So, Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that Mr. Ornato told the president about weapons at the rally on the morning of January 6th?
That's what Mr. Ornato relayed to me.
And here's how you characterize Mr. Meadows' general response when people raised concerns about what could happen on January 6th.
So at the time, the days leading up to the 6th, there were lots of public reports about how things might go bad on the 6th, even potential for violence. If I'm hearing you correctly, what stands out to you is that Mr. Meadows did not share those concerns, or at least did not act on those concerns.
Did not act on those concerns would be accurate.
But other people raised something to him, like in this exchange, you mentioned Mr. Ornato pulled him aside.
That's correct.
Ms. Hutchinson, we're going to show now an exchange of texts between you and Deputy Chief of Staff Ornato. And these text messages were exchanged while you were at the Ellipse. In one text, you write that the crowd looks good from this vantage point as long as we get the shot. He was effing furious. And the text messages also stress that President Trump kept mentioning the OTR and off-the-record movement. We're going to come back and ask you about that in a minute. But could you tell us, first of all, who it is in the text who was furious?
The he in that text that I was referring to was the president.
And why was he furious, Ms. Hutchinson?
He was furious because he wanted the arena that we had on the Ellipse to be maxed out at capacity for all attendees. The advance team had relayed to him that the mags were free-flowing. Everybody who wanted to come in had already come in, but he still was angry about the extra space and wanted more people to come in.
And did you go to the rally in the presidential motorcade?
I was there, yes, in the motorcade.
And were you backstage with the president and other members of his staff and family?
I was.
And you told us, Ms. Hutchinson, about particular comments that you heard while you were in the tent area.
When we were in the offstage announced area tent behind the stage, he was very concerned about the shot, meaning the photograph that we would get, because the rally space wasn't full. One of the reasons, which I previously stated, was because he wanted it to be full and for people to not feel excluded because they'd come far to watch him at the rally. And he felt the mags were at fault for not letting everybody in. But another leading reason, and likely the primary reason, is because he wanted it full and he was angry that we weren't letting people through the mags with weapons, what the Secret Service deemed as weapons and our weapons. But when we were in the offstage announced tent, I was part of a conversation. I was in the vicinity of a conversation where I overheard the president say something to the effect of, I don't effing care that they have weapons. they're not here to hurt me. Take the effing bags away. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol from here. Let the people in.
That's it. Let the people in. I don't care if they have weapons. That's what Trump said. This testimony is firsthand, you guys. You guys catch that? Jimmy Dore didn't want to cover this part of the testimony, though, huh? Isn't that weird? It's weird.
Just to be clear, Ms. Hutchinson, is it your understanding that the president wanted to take the mags away and said that the armed individuals were not there to hurt him?
That's a fair assessment.
The issue wasn't with the amount of space available in the official rally area only, but instead that people did not want to have to go through the mags. Let's listen to a portion of what you told us about that.
In this particular instance, it wasn't the capacity of our space, it was the mags and the people that didn't want to come through, and that's what Tony had been trying to relay to him that morning. You know, it's not the issues that we encountered on the campaign. We have enough space, or they don't want to come in right now. They have weapons they don't want confiscated by the Secret Service, and they're fine on the mall. They can see you on the mall. They want to march straight to the Capitol from the mall.
The president apparently wanted all attendees inside the official rally space and repeatedly said, quote, "They're not here to hurt me."
And just to be clear, so he was told again in that conversation, or was he told again in that conversation, that people couldn't come through the mags because they had weapons?
Correct.
And that people, and his response was to say they can march to the Capitol from the ellipse.
Something to the effect of, take the effing mags away. They're not here to hurt me. Let them in. Let my people in. They can march to the Capitol after the rally's over. They can march from the ellipse. Take the effing mags away. Then they can march to the Capitol.
Ms. Hutchinson, what we saw when those clips were playing were photos provided by the National Archives showing the president in the offstage tent before his speech on the ellipse. You were in some of those photos as well. And I just want to confirm that that is when you heard the president say the people with weapons weren't there to hurt him and that he wanted the Secret Service to remove the magnetometers.
That's correct. In the photos that you displayed, we were standing towards the front of the tent with the TVs, really close to where he would walk out to go onto the stage. These conversations happened 2 to 3 minutes before he took the stage that morning.
Let's reflect on that.
Yeah, let's reflect on that, Jimmy Dore. First-hand testimony from an eyewitness, from someone sworn that she was standing right there and heard what Donald Trump said personally. Why don't you cover this, Jimmy Dore? Why don't you cover this, Jimmy? Why aren't you going to talk about this part where what she saw personally with her own eyes? You know, oh, it's secondhand. Oh, it's secondhand. Oh, it's hearsay. Oh, it would never be allowed in a court of law. It's hearsay. Yeah, those few things that she said Trump did, that was hearsay. Listen to the hour and a half of her testimony, of her eyewitness testimony, and tell me how much is hearsay. That's all I got to say. That's what I got, guys. I hope you appreciated this takedown of Jimmy Dore. I destroyed him. I always do. It's easy. Quit making it so easy, Jimmy. All right, stop. Stop. Wake up. Quit having a narrative. All right, just tell the truth. That should be your narrative, man. Tell the truth. Stop picking sides, man. And stop supporting Donald Trump blindly, bro. You're making a huge mistake. He's just as much a fucking dick as Joe Biden is. And the fact that you can't see that, it really says a lot about you. All right? You guys, thanks so much for watching my show. I love you guys. I'll see you guys this afternoon. Let's say around 3-ish. What do you say? I'll see you guys then. I love you guys. Take care. I hope you had fun. Share this. Go take this video once it's up. Take clips of it. Send the clips to Jimmy Dore on Twitter. And tweet this video at Jimmy Dore, too. You could tweet it at my friend Joe, too. Shut the fuck up, shitlib. And let him see, who he says same energy of the little girl that was lying about soldiers throwing Iraqi babies on the cold floor of a hospital to die out, pulling them out of incubators. Same energy. Yeah, is it? Is it really? Same energy? Okay. Watch this entire video and you tell me it's the same. Watch her entire testimony and you tell me it's the same energy. All right? Her name is Cassidy Hutchinson. Say her name. Cassidy Hutchinson. She's a fucking hero and she's a truth teller. All right. Love you guys. Bye.